Puppy, shut up. No, leave me alone.
All right, just so everybody knows, it's streaming live on Facebook or on YouTube right now, and this is being recorded. So, hello, Ed.
What's up, man? So, another day in paradise.
This is hard to do this. Because I have to make phone calls and then my classes get.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, Oma?
You have to, Carl, you have to unmute.
I did.
I got to figure out this phone thing, but pretty good. I just got done in the garden, took a shower, and here I am.
Nice, nice, nice.
I'm done for
Good.
the day. I'm hot.
Good, good, good. We're still waiting on our second guest to arrive.
Okay.
Great. Well, remember, this is being recorded and it is live on YouTube right now. So, just so everybody knows,
Nice.
and we will get started once I see the 4 o'clock mark or more people coming.
Sounds like a plan.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you, Alex. You're on mute. I don't know if you knew that.
Hi, Alex. It's Chris.
There you go.
All right. So is it Alex?
It is.
Nice to meet you.
No,
Hello.
Todd, you know me. This is former Ann Colesrud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It
it's
sure
been a
is.
while.
Wow, it's been a long while.
Yeah,
Nice.
and Chris.
How are you, Alex?
All right.
How did you hear about this?
Dawn sends me lots of emails.
Don Francis, yes. Don was
Yes.
sharing. Don was sharing with a lot of people, yes.
Yep.
Well, just so you know, this is being recorded and we're live on YouTube right now. We still have 6 minutes left. So we'll wait and see how many other people join and get started just right around 4 o'clock.
I'm gonna shut my phone off.
Look at that. I got some political stuff on there.
Didn't mean to.
No, that's all right. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Yeah, not here now.
I talked to her last night, Todd. But I want you to know. Yeah.
Good, good, good. Mm-mm.
Hey, Todd and Ed, or he's, I may not stay for the whole thing. I'll stay through because of what I talked to Ed about earlier today.
Okay,
Well, I appreciate you being here right now. That's great. I
Yeah,
just
I
letting
wanted to-
everybody,
I want
go
to
ahead.
help you out and stuff like that, so.
okay.
all right, people are starting to join.
So when I take my mask off, it's because people have left the room and shut the door. So I just want you to know that I'm not just randomly taking my mask off when there's people around. So
Sure. Oh, they're all joining at one time.
that's awesome. I'm gonna go shut this door.
Okay. So everybody knows we'll get started just at 4 o'clock. And so you know it is being recorded so that other folks are able to see it, and it is streaming live on YouTube. It's good to see people popping on. So as you're joining, I'm letting everybody know we will get started right at 4 o'clock, and it is being streamed on YouTube and being recorded for people to visit later. Well, I have 4 o'clock and I was telling everybody this is being recorded and it right now is streaming live on YouTube so that people can follow us and learn a little bit about us. My name is Todd Nowak and I am the Executive Director of Life Connections Peer Recovery Services. We are a peer-run nonprofit in Iowa, one of 3 in the state of Iowa. Peer Run organization is a nonprofit that is made up of a board of directors of at least 51% of people with lived experience, and the rest maybe other folks with other talents. And it is a staff that is employed that is 100% people with lived experience, trained by the state to deliver peer support services. So I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of history of Life Connections. Again, we are located in DeWitt, a small rural area, nice little town. We actually provide peer delivered services through a wellness center and a respite house. These services are for individuals that are struggling with emotional distress, have diagnosis of themselves, whether it's substance abuse, trauma, or other life-interrupting challenges. I actually founded Life Connections Peer Recovery Services. I am a certified peer recovery specialist myself by the state. Nearly got probably a decade of experience delivering training in recovery and support services to peers throughout Iowa. Again, the organization was incorporated in 2016 when we received our nonprofit status. In the 3 years of setting up the organization, it took a little while to find people to become board members and want to be involved in something like this. But in the process was able to find some really strong board members. We've emerged as one of the cornerstone mental health service providers in Eastern Iowa as far as peer delivered services. And we've been recognized as a role model for peer run organizations in Iowa by the Substance Abuse Mental Health Service Association and their National Technical Assistance Organization. We, again, operate 2 major programs. Number 1, the Wellness Recovery Center that is open after hours and on the weekends. And 2 is the baby of why this organization was founded, and that is Rhonda's House, a peer-run respite house, in the only one in Iowa. Life Connections is established in an organization with a strong board of directors. We have 12 employees working for us throughout the 2 projects, and 2 the Peer Run Wellness Center is a recovery program and a diverse base of donors that have been very helpful in our process. In the process of opening the respite house, we had to look for donors. One of the very first places that we went was Genesis Hospital. Genesis has been a huge partner for us. In fact, they have been such a good partner that we are actually using one of the houses that they own to run the peer respite. They have actually been a donor to us. They were the seed money to get the respite house going, and actually gave us another round of funding last year because of the success that we have had. So again, Life Connections runs strictly on grants. We have a contract with the Eastern Iowa Crisis Services for both our projects. And we also look at community-based financial gifts from businesses, congregations, and individuals. So our wellness center was actually the first thing that was up and going, and it was running out of the DeWitt United Methodist Church for a couple of years. And In June of 2019, we moved to our own location, a more accessible location on the main street downtown here in DeWitt. The Wellness Center is the only place in DeWitt in the region where individuals struggling with emotional distress, substance abuse, trauma, different diagnoses, the only one of its kind in a rural area right now. The Wellness Center is open 6 days a week, 5 hours a day for 30 hours. The days of the operation of the Wellness Center are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 5 to 10 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from noon to 5. The Wellness Center could serve up to 10 people at a time right now. Before that, we were seeing probably about 125 people a month come through the Wellness Center. At the Wellness Center, well-trained peer recovery specialists provide one-on-one and group-based support. One of the biggest things that we do is wellness recovery action planning, known around as WRAP. We do all kinds of different things from anger management to building self-esteem, all kinds of different things. We have been graciously given by donations some computers, so we have ways for people to maybe apply for Medicaid, apply for regional funding, fill out resumes, help them fill out resumes, look for different resources, all kinds of different things. And then we have Rhonda's House, which opened September 22nd of 2018. Again, the respite house is located on the grounds of Genesis Medical Center, right behind the ER. It is a 3-bedroom handicap accessible house, and it is no cost to any individuals that come to their house. It is a safe, home-like environment for individuals that are struggling with anything from loss to anxiety, maybe substance issues. We've seen a different variety of people. It is open and operates 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 24 hours, serving individuals living throughout the 5-county region. We've actually had people from Illinois come, people from all the way in Sioux City, Council Bluffs, Ames, Des Moines, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids. And again, we could serve up to 3 people at a time under normal situations. Given the COVID right now, we are only accepting 2 individuals. The service participants that are coming into the house, they can stay up to 7 days. Again, if we were able to serve 3 people at one time, we could serve 150 plus individuals depending on how many days they would stay. Every person that is employed by us at the Wellness Center and at Rhonda's House, again, are all people with lived experience. They go through an internal training with myself and the house manager and the coordinator of the Wellness Center. Then they are actually sent to the state training, which is conducted by the University of Iowa. Excuse me. But again, we do things at the respite house similar to the center, but a little bit more of a one-on-one basis. We really work with people with wellness recovery action plannings, the WRAP, but people may come there for other things. You know, we've had a lot of people that come to the respite house that you think about it, right? Sometimes our anxiety gets so high that you can't sleep. So if they need to come instead of going to an inpatient or ending up in jail, why should we think otherwise if they just need to get some sleep? So if they need to come and they need to get 2 days worth of sleep, to get them grounded, to get them back to where they need to be, then why shouldn't we do it, right? But we've helped people look for housing. We've helped them apply for Medicaid. Like I said, we are contracted with the Eastern Iowa Crisis, so we are able to hook them up with care coordinators if that's what they need. So anything it takes to help them along the road to recovery. So it really took a long time to get this going. It took 34 months of working with the Technical Assistance Organization. It took planning with the board of directors. It took planning with Genesis Philanthropy on able to use their house. It took planning, just working with our region and showing them the aspects of what a peer respite could do. And again, like I said, we have been open now. It's going to be in October, 2 years. And we have served right now 144 people. We've definitely would have served a lot more, but with the impact of COVID-19, you know, that's kind of slowed things down for a lot of people. I am actually coming to you from the Wellness Center. I have a corner office, and then the Wellness Center is right behind me, behind the wall. Ed Murphy is on here, and I'm sure you can see Ed up there with the mask. He is actually coming to you from the respite house, and he's going to be talking in a little bit about how you can get into the respite house. And at the end of this, we want to take people's questions. You can actually fill the chat in if you want. But again, we are a nonprofit. So one of the things that we got confronted with when we first looked at moving into DeWitt was a lot of folks that we went to, being police, sheriff, other leaders, was this really needs to be something that needs to be in Davenport or Clinton, a big city. And the thing that we have to understand is these big cities have a lot of resources. They have community mental health centers. They have recovery centers themselves. They have therapy. They have a bus route. And the only thing the rural area has is trying to get transportation to get to them big cities. So that's why we wanted it out here, one. The second reason is when we had the region management team come out and we showed them the house, before we opened up, I took them outside and I said, listen. And they said, what? And they couldn't hear anything. And I said, that is why it needs to be out here, is because you are having quiet. It's just that solitude of being away from everyday anxiety that's going on, being away from close neighbors, just being away, period. We have had some people from DeWitt here, but the majority of people have been from Scott County, Clinton, and other major areas. So that's the reason that we chose DeWitt. And DeWitt has been welcoming. So welcoming as one of our funders has been the DeWitt United Methodist Church and the Iowa Conference of Methodist. They've seen the need. You think about pastors, they deal a lot with people with mental health issues. So they were very excited to hear about us coming to DeWitt. They've been a good funder. Other places, we have a place out here called the Referral Center. If somebody comes out here and they need something like clothes or food, the Referral Center helps them out. Our DeWitt Fitness Center, the city itself has been a big funder. Any guests that come out to the respite house, they are given a day pass to the fitness center to go there and get in the pool, get in the hot tub, get in the sauna, lift some weights, walk the track. It's just another way to have that wellness on that road to recovery. So that is a little bit of that. I want to leave time for some questions. And in that aspect, we have Ed that's going to be speaking. I've actually got a couple people on here that used to be guests of ours. Who knows, they may be guest again. That's the other thing that Ed's going to talk about is, you know, how long is it you have to wait before you can come back to the respite house? Because quite honestly, when people come, they don't want to leave. There is a sign above our patio that says, enter as strangers, leave as friends. Many of people have said, I feel like I'm leaving more as family than friends, because that is what we want to communicate. We want to communicate that, hey, we are here to support you along the road to recovery, and we want you to use us anytime, call anytime. So before I do let Ed talk, I want to talk about some of the things that we've had to do to really adjust to the COVID-19. Excuse me. At the Wellness Center, we were closed down for about 45 days inside. But what we did is we knew that people would need support still. So we had a virtual platform, Zoom, like we're using now, to be able to connect with people. So we would keep the hours going and people would connect by Zoom. This actually did so well with our networking that we even had people from other states getting on that. So when things did calm down a little bit, I know they're kind of back up there a little too, we opened up the recovery center. And now we are accepting up to 10 people at a time. You have to be able to wear a mask in order to come in. You have to pass a screening. And again, it's just keeping that physical distancing, right? And let's not say social distancing, because right now we're socializing right now, right? And we're being physical. We are physically apart, but socially together. At the respite house, we again go through them questions as well. Instead of accepting 3 guests right now, we did close down for a month. Then we started accepting 1, and now we're accepting 2. So if you are going to be in a close area, 6 foot, but close in the living room, the kitchen, we are requiring that people wear masks. Their temperature is taken quite often. And again, they're passing that check. Have you been around anybody that's been sick? Are you working in any atmosphere that COVID is experienced? Things like that. So them are some of the things that we're doing for COVID. And I do want to add in that when we did close down the respite house, we knew then too people would need us. So instead of laying our people off, we were able to switch over to a 24/7 support line, which in fact, that is going on now too. So at the Recovery Center, we're physically open and we have a virtual platform that people can join the Recovery Center every day of the week. The Respite House, we're accepting up to 2 guests, and you can call us 24/7 for support. And again, we're having people call from all over, even other states, to get the support that they need. So what I'd like to do now, in the interest of time, is I want to turn it over to Ed and have Ed talk about the house, some things that you have to do to be able to get screened, to get in there, to stay, all them things. And then we're going to turn it over to a couple of our guests. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. All right. So in order to be a guest at at the house, we need to speak with you. Therefore, if somebody calls, a doctor's office calls and says, I have a patient that wants to, I think it's a good spot, I need to speak with that individual. The first thing we do is make sure that that person wants to come out here. So we do have a small screening. We have a few extra added questions, obviously, from the COVID. So we make sure that the person's not been exposed to anybody with COVID or not showing any symptoms of like a fever or coughing. Then we ask a few questions. We make sure that that person is a good fit for the house. Therefore, we ask if where they are, if they're having any suicidal thoughts. We want to make sure that they are in our realm of our profession. So if somebody has an active plan or is suicidal, we encourage them to go to the hospital, maybe and get cleared, or assist them to get higher level of care. We make sure that the individual's been sober for 24 hours before coming and will remain sober during their stay. Like Todd said, the max stay is 7 days. One of the things is the individual has to have a permanent address to return to. Unfortunately, we are not licensed to be a homeless shelter. We cannot take in people that do not have an address. And right now there's a lot of people out there that unfortunately don't fit that criteria, but we do our best to try to give resources to help that individual out if they are not a fit. Once they pass that screening, I let them know and to bring out some food. Like Todd said before, there is the referral center for people who don't have anything, but we would ask that you bring out some food. We have a complete full kitchen with all the pots and pans and microwave and stove, everything you would need to cook. We ask that the individual brings out a couple change of clothes. We do have laundry available out here with laundry detergent, as well as toiletries. So deodorant, we've had plenty of things, people volunteer things. So everything that you would need is pretty much covered if you forget. What's unique about Rhonda's house is once you get out here, you can come and go as you please throughout the day. We do lock the door at 10 o'clock. That is our quiet time. By no means does that mean you have to go to bed. That just means that you need to be in the house, and we like to keep the TV volume down so that the other guests can sleep. But you can get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and make yourself a sandwich or talk to staff or read a book. It's completely up to you. During your stay at Rhonda's house, if you are a smoker, you can step down the street. We are on hospital property, so we have to step down a couple houses to do that, but we do not take cigarettes away from you. You're more than welcome to do that. And it's basically just like the home environment. Rhonda's house is a house. And I always let the guests know that this is their house, so make themselves comfortable. We are here to support them as a peer support specialist. We walk beside the individual. We don't push or pull them. So if somebody comes out and they want to sleep, they can sleep. If they say they have a list of things to do, and we will walk beside them. I know a lot of people come out here and they're nervous about calling and making the phone calls. They have to get to the resources so we can practice those calls before we actually make the call. So we just try to help instill the skills they're going to need, because in 7 days, they're going to be out on their own again. So again, it's a great job. I've met some really, really, really great people doing this. It's one of the biggest compliments I've heard is how safe people feel. And it is completely different than the medical model. So it's surprising to, I think, a lot of guests who come out here who aren't used to this kind of setup, but it is basically set up for them to work their recovery the way they need to work it. So that being said, I'm going to show you around the house a little bit. And right now I'm sitting out on our lovely porch, which is not air conditioned, so it's kind of warm. So I'm gladly going to walk with the computer here in the house and kind of show you a couple things. But out here on the porch, it's soundproof, and we have games. We have, I'm trying to do this the best way I can, but we have a bookshelf with games, a bunch of resources. We have, books. This is a good place, especially in the spring and fall, to come out and just kind of get a breeze. I like to bring my computer out here and work in the spring and the fall. So I'm going to go into the actual house now, and I'm going to turn this computer around. So I apologize if it's shaky here. So this right here Just a typical kitchen. But like I said, it's got everything needed. When a guest comes, we give them a shelf and they can put all their food. We have them put their initials on there so we can keep it separated, but they can store that. We have an office and a laundry room. But my favorite part is, I don't know if you can see behind me, we have a pool table. And so again, it's just a home where you can do what you want to do. If you want to shoot some pool, you can definitely do that. If you want to talk to Marlena, you can definitely do that. And let's see. We do have guests here, so I'm not going to do the rooms, but again, here's the living room area. It's just set up just like a house, because that's what it is. So I'll
The
put
fish
try to.
tank,
What's
fish
that?
tank, the fish tank.
Oh, the fish tank. Okay, I'll do the fish tank, and then I'll go sit down so people don't get dizzy. But yeah, so we got a nice aquarium, some lovely fish, got a nice TV. We can sit back and watch some TV, and yeah, just relax. So
The thing I'd like to add, that I don't know if Ed even really spoke about it, is everything in that house has been donated. We didn't have to buy anything except small essentials. We have had people from the community donate furniture. When we did open up the house, we put it out in the newspaper and in Facebook that we needed bedroom stuff. We immediately got calls. The big room that is kind of like the suite, it's got a sleigh bed that's a queen size with cherry dresser and nightstands. That was donated by a family member. The mom had passed away, and they donated that. Even the fish tank was donated, and some of the fish actually were donated. And you think about everyday essentials, right? We take for granted our toilet paper and towels, stuff like that. No, we've had organizations and individuals that have donated a ton of that stuff. I could go down the list. I'm going to share our website in a few minutes and just show you some of our donors. Just for instance, Speak Out Against Suicide was a donor that donated a lot of towels, laundry soap, dish stuff, even our plates and pans. They have more plates and pans and stuff there than I have at my own place. The microwave, the refrigerator, everything, all the stuff was donated. So
Todd, I want to add too, Oma put that in the chat that Oma and Terry both planted some flowers that they volunteered, that they donated as well. So the outside of the house has definitely changed a lot too. So we have flowers outside the front of the house.
Yep. All right. So before we do open it up for questions, and I appreciate seeing people put things into the chat. And if you have a question, please put it in there too. So we actually have 3 people that are going to speak. I see 1, 2. Looks like we might have lost one. Anyway, I'm going to start with one. And, you know, you ask, well, I've been asked, who should donate to this? We all should. It affects us. It affects our neighbor. It affects our employee. It affects our managers. It affects everybody, right? So the next person is Cynthia Schaus. And Cynthia is the daughter of the person that the house is named after. So you think about Rhonda's house. Rhonda's name was Rhonda Schaus. So if you take Rhonda's, take the S and put it over, that spells Rhonda Schaus. Cynthia is actually a board member of ours and helps on our finance committee. And Cynthia is going to talk about her experience as well of being a guest. Cynthia.
Hi. All right. So as Todd stated, my name is Cynthia Schaus. I am the daughter of the woman that the house was named after, Rhonda Schaus. She was a remarkable woman who was a extraordinary advocate for mental health awareness and advocacy in Iowa. And she unfortunately passed away about a little over 3 years ago now, very suddenly. But I am trying to do what I can to carry on her legacy as her daughter. And so being able to be on the board for Life Connections and help out with Rhonda's house is something that is one of the most important things in my life to me right now. Just being able to carry on her legacy and, that kind of stuff. So I have actually gotten to stay at the house once, and I was in a time of crisis and was going through quite a bit in my life at the time, and just kind of needed to, have some people there to talk to and have someone to kind of just listen and have support from someone who understood, who wasn't necessarily a doctor, or, someone who had a, degree or whatever and could say, oh yeah, I understand, but have they really been through something like that themselves? Not necessarily. And so being able to go somewhere where it's peer support, where it's people who have been through that same or a similar situation themselves and can say, I understand, and use examples from their own experience to help you grow. That is what peer support is to me. And that is huge. That is a huge, that is just a huge thing. And so being able to go somewhere where I could stay and have someone there that understands that kind of stuff. Sorry, I'm just kind of rolling on here. It helped me a lot get through that crisis that I was going through. And so, like Todd said, there are 3 bedrooms there. I was able to stay in one of the bedrooms, and I think if I remember correctly at the time, I just kind of needed some space to myself, so I didn't really converse with a whole lot of people there. But I was able to, bring my own video game system. I play video games at home. So I was able to bring my own video game system and play, video games in my bedroom when I needed to. That's one of my main coping skills. I was able to listen to music when I needed to. That's another one of my coping skills. And so I was able to just kind of use that, but also still have someone there if I did need to talk to someone who understands. And so being able to have that was extremely, extremely helpful. And I would not have been able to get through that crisis that I was going through as well, or I might have ended up in a worse place, if I hadn't been able to go to Rhonda's house. And so that's kind of my experience with staying at the house. However, being on the board of directors, it also opens up another opportunity to me for being able to just kind of get the word out about Rhonda's house and get the word out about Life Connections and the services that we do offer, to be able to help more people. I'm here, I'm in Cedar Rapids, and so I know that's quite a ways from DeWitt, but that's still something that, we've had people from Lynn County and, and further come and stay at Rhonda's house. And there's been times I've been able to tell my friends, hey, if you're struggling, there's this organization that is doing great things, and I happen to be on the board of directors, but they're able to help you if you need someone to talk to, or if you need a place to stay for a while, like call them. And so I've given a couple people the number, and so it's a very helpful organization. And like I said, that particular crises, I don't know that I would have made it through without Life Connections being there. So
Cynthia, I have a question for you. Have you ever been hospitalized before?
Oh yeah, I have been hospitalized multiple times before, more times than I can count. But it's definitely something that I think, Todd, what you're getting at is like what the difference is between a hospitalization and staying at Rhonda's house. And it definitely is more trying to think the right word. Like I feel treated more like a human being staying at Rhonda's house than I do at, the hospital, because the hospital is the medical model, whereas that Rhonda's house is more of the human services model. We're more like, we're going to make sure that you get what you need and treat you like a human being, not just another patient. so that makes a world of difference for me.
Sure. Well, thank you, Cynthia.
Mhm.
The next one we have is Chris. Chris is here with the Iowa flag in the background. And something about Chris that she'll share, but Chris is actually a peer support specialist. And, again, whether you're a peer support specialist, whether you're a psychiatrist, therapist, whether you're a police officer, we all have struggles, right? And so Chris was able to utilize the house, and I'd like to have her tell us what it meant to her. And actually, as a peer support specialist, how did that feel reaching out? And we are supposed to be the model. And how did that feel with you reaching out, being the model, as far as having anxiety on saying, hey, I need help?
So yeah, since about 2016, I've been in and out of the hospitals, in and out. And after quarantine started, I was starting to, I'm stay at home all the time. I live alone. I was starting to go downhill a little bit, sadness, isolation. So I thought, when I had heard that you guys could accept one person, I called, and I was fine calling, but then after I called, it hit. I'm a peer support specialist, and I'm going to go to a place for help. And as weird as it sounds, I was like, gosh, I shouldn't be needing help like this, and that's what my brain was telling me. And I mean, logically, I know differently, but so I did go, but I was very anxious getting there. I had to do a lot of self-talk that it's going to be okay. They're not going to judge you. They know what you're going through. They've been there, and it was a good experience. It's like Cynthia said, it's a whole person model. So it's not like you go to a coping skills group and a psychiatrist sees you, and they're there for you. They meet you where you are. And when you go in the hospital, they talk to you right away. They're like, what's going on? It's like they're all over you when you go to the hospital. You just get there. But at Rhonda's house, you can come and talk to them about what's going on when you want to. Like when you first get there, they don't be like, okay, let's sit down and talk about your goals for the house, for your stay, or if do you have any goals, They tell you to come to them when you can, when you're ready to talk about what's going on, and if you need to talk. So that morning that I was leaving, that Friday morning, I think it was, I had my ride set up to come, and I tell you, I was thinking of every reason not to come, Todd. But I talked myself through it, and I got there. Once I was there, my anxiety of being a peer specialist at the house was lessened a little bit. Because I went more because of the quarantine, the isolation, after I left there, I started I started doing different things with my RAT plan. Like I made the triggers triggers I've been having with quarantine. Like I had to put my dog to sleep during this whole thing, and just the isolation and the action plans for those. And I've really been trying to stick to a schedule after I left there, like a daily, what I need to do every day to stay well. If I don't sleep, what can I do to stay well? So as I know this, I haven't been in the hospital for 2 months, and that I credit Rhonda's house for that. It sounds like that's not very long, but with all the stuff that's been going on the last 4 years, it's pretty good for me. It's a great experience. And like Todd said, even as peer specialist therapists, you're not like, they don't judge. They don't think any less of you. That's why they're there. And if you're anxious about going for whatever reason, call them and talk to them. If you already called them to go, call them again and be like, I'm thinking about, having all these anxieties about coming, they'll talk you through them. So, any questions?
Well, thank you, Chris. We're definitely gonna open it up so that they can actually ask you or Cynthia or Ed any questions. One thing I wanted to do was to share our website. And so our website is actually really easy. It's lifeconnectionsrecovery.org. And if you go to the beginning of our website, you'll see that, well, we have a fundraiser here. It's, I don't know if you've ever heard of a float tank, but this actually is a healthy way to release a lot of tension. But if you book it, it's $50. $20 would come to us if you book it. Again, I won't bore you with all that, but we have a list of things that, you know, because of COVID-19, what it is we're doing, some facts on it, how to prevent it, video conferencing that we have. And go down here and the peer support line is there. Judgment free, we listen, we don't interrupt. And that's 24/7. And here's the link to the Wellness Center and some groups that we do. You can join that by Zoom. And again, here's what we do is, you know, basically, these are the things that we are looking at. We want to create healthy opportunities for advancing hope and recovery and wellness for everybody. Rhonda's House, you can find out more information there. The Wellness Center, find out more about RAP. And again, if you go to the top, we have a newsletter, the services, our donors, AmeriGroup, one of the MCOs, car freshener, you hang your little car freshener on your window. That's actually in DeWitt. They have 2 offices, one in New York and one here. So they make them here. DeWitt, the DeWitt Fitness Center, Methodist Church. It's getting to be that there are so many that we're going to adjust this because, like I said, we've had Speak Out Against Suicide, Genesis Philanthropy, Genesis, individuals themselves, other churches, and a way to contact us, and of course, a donate button. But I want to go to a question that was on here. And it said, I'd love to see more peer recovery services in Iowa with funding and donations. Could this resource be replicated and modeled across Iowa? 100% it could be replicated. We've actually had a region come to us about opening a house in their region. But again, it goes with the funding, right? And that is going to be a piece that I'm going to talk about where our plans are. One of our plans is we've been working with some folks in the legislative session and trying to talk with DHS about drafting a bill to have peer respite in this state. Wisconsin has 3, and the way that they're able to fund it sustainably is through a legislative bill that prioritizes money allocated strictly for peer respite. Peer respite is just another service that is something that can be modeled across Iowa. So maybe people don't have to travel all the way. And the more there are, the more you can serve. The Wellness Center, again, we're the only one that's opened after hours. That could definitely be modeled. It all deals with funding, and funding starts at our state level. So this needs to be available in every community. You're absolutely right. One of the well-renowned advocates in respite is a actual psychologist that had actually came out of the era, and he's an older gentleman, and he goes around nationally and internationally and speaks and does other trainings. And he said there should be a peer respite in every town. Thank you for sharing, Cynthia. So what I'd like to do is open it up for questions, but prior to that, I do see our center coordinators on here, John Jewell. And John, if you would like to say anything, please go ahead about what's going on here and some things that you've seen with the difference that you're doing here at the Recovery Center.
Okay, for the Recovery Center, what goes on around here, besides the stuff on the website calendar, we also do other support groups daily, such as stress relief and all this other stuff. It's really good. We work with anybody. We've had people come here to work on getting healthcare, to housing, other qualities. We do about anything for anybody as long as they need help in some way. If we can help, we try. It's really good with individuals who are in crisis, because we can either help them get a service they need with the crisis line. A lot of people don't understand what the crisis line is. So opening the door for services is really a good thing for people who are in need. A lot of people don't know what's actually out there. Okay. I can't think of anything else right at the moment, Todd.
Okay, no problem. Well, and I'm going to close it out before the questions. And I would just like to say that our plans for the future, we are actually getting technical assistance through our board and our finance committee so that we can look at the sustainability plan of buying our own house to be able to serve more people. We would like to, again, like I said, purchase a 5-bedroom house to be able to serve more people, have more bathrooms. Because believe it or not, with even 2 or 3 guests and staff, sometimes the bathroom is occupied and you need to use it. And we're looking to stay in DeWitt because we have found that this community is very supportive. People enjoy coming to DeWitt. There's much to offer. We've actually had one of our guests came back and worked for us and moved to DeWitt. That is how much, not just the respite house, but the community in general has made a difference for individuals coming to the respite house. And again, like I said, moving forward with working with our state policymakers and showing them the importance of this. You know, it average cost per day is about $428 to stay at the respite house. An average cost to stay in an inpatient unit can be anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000 a day. I'm going to tell you, you get a little bit more out of a respite house and you are able to even keep your job if you want to keep your job, because you can go to work, come and go as you want. But the difference that we make in people's lives are huge. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need inpatient beds. Sometimes people do get that severe that they need to maybe go to a higher level of care. But if we can spend a little bit more money allocated to this to make a difference, we might not even need that, right? So you think of a step, right? You have 12 steps to get to the second story. If you lay the respite house at the first step, you may not need to even encounter step 6, step 9, step 12. So that's really what we're looking at. And to keep the support line going, we're working on some grants to make that 24/7 warm line permanent. We are calling it a support line because right now there is a warm line that you can call. Their hours have changed. I know they are open, I believe it is from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. But hey, what happens to that person at 11 p.m. or 2 a.m. that's dealing with anxiety, right? Do they end up having to call 911? No, we want to make this permanent. Oh, I did see a message. Chris actually had worked at the house too for a short period. And, again, in recovery, it's a bumpy road. So what I'd like to do now is let you all be able to ask any questions you may have. I know there's probably plenty out there, so feel free to unmute yourself and I will look at who's trying to say something.
Yeah, my name is Jim Van Steenberg. I'm up here in Dubuque. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Jim. Yeah.
Okay. I'm real active with NAMI right now. And I'm a peer-to-peer teacher for NAMI Dubuque. And also I just got certified as a connections facilitator for our connections recovery and support group. And I was hospitalized a few years ago, and it was probably more traumatic for me at the hospital than anything. It was really, really terrible. I found not that they didn't try. It was just that it was a safe place for me to be at the time, and that's what I needed. But when I got out, I went to NAMI for support because that was the only kind of support that I had. What I guess my question is something like this could be replicated as like an on-unit type of like an on-unit wellness center for the people that are in the hospital, so that they have somebody to connect with. Because we don't have that here in Dubuque with somebody that you can connect with that has a lived experience. You have the medical staff, and they treat you like kind of like an object. I mean, I'm not trying to downplay their importance, but I just felt that when I left, I was lost.
You
Actually,
bring up-
James,
Yeah.
I've been talking to, oh, sorry, Tom.
You bring up a good point, James. So peer services in general have found to be a little bit more impactful. There are a lot of states, and I do say a lot. Iowa is a little behind track. There are a lot of states that offer peer specialists in ERs, peer specialists in inpatient units, peer specialists inside police departments,
Okay.
911. And you're absolutely right, because here's the thing. The hospitals are so understaffed, and we know we are understaffed as far as psychologists go. We are so understaffed in the hospitals that is a real big reason that you probably felt like an object, is they have so many things going on behind the scenes, and it really weighs on them that sometimes they don't treat somebody with the respect that they need.
Mhm.
That if you had a peer specialist that was strictly involved in working with the individuals in the inpatient unit, it would make a big difference in them inpatient units.
Well,
And I
that's
am
what,
a strong
that's
peer.
what I would like to see happen. I've been accepted into the peer support specialist program, but I was supposed to take the training in Dubuque when they had the training here, and then it got canceled because of COVID-19. And I just sent off an email yesterday asking if there was going to be any openings in the September group. They're going to do it on Zoom. but they had said that they were closing it just to people that were already peer support specialists. Anyway, I sent off an email asking if there's any chance I could get into that program. But I'm interested in trying to start something at our hospital here in Dubuque for peer support on ward. But I'm kind of hitting my head against the wall, and I think part of it is the COVID-19 thing that's going on. Sometimes they allow people into the hospital, and then all of a sudden they'll just stop allowing visitors into the hospital. So I've got this idea, and I just don't know how to run with it, I guess is.
Well, you have a great idea, and I'll tell you, all it takes is a little advocacy. And I did, for anybody, I just put my email in the chat. I would love for you to send me an email so that we could set up a time to talk. I have some ideas that I've done and might be able to bring you along with them ideas and give you some of your own. I'm actually one of the trainers for the peer support training. And I can tell you, given the impact of COVID-19, they have kind of strung it to where the ones that are actually working are getting trained right now. But that doesn't leave opportunities out for you, James. And I would like to thank you personally for sharing your story with us. It really impacted me because I know I spent one time in the inpatient unit and that's all it took. I seen people that didn't have the supports that I did, and it really opened my eyes. And it sounds like it's opened your eyes, and you just stay connected. That's what this is about. And be able to work with you and help give you some support. All right, anybody else? I did see a question in the chat box of what is considered a short stay or a long stay at the peer recovery. So short stay could obviously be 24 hours. We've actually had a guest that came, went through the screening, got approved, came, did not like our policy for the bed bug policy. That was probably our shortest stay. And they left and went home. But it's about choices, right? That's what recovery is about, and giving each of us choices and options. So that was the shortest stay. Longest stay, 7 days. There, I will tell you that there was one exception, maybe two, where somebody was really working the program, and we worked with the workers that they were working with, and we may have gave them 1 or 2 extra days, but that is not normal. 7 days is pretty much the stay because we do want other people to be able to access this. And like Ed said, you have to wait 60 days in order to come back. So that is really what we're looking at is the 7 days.
Hey, Todd. Todd, I was just going to go over too. I forgot to say that when we were talking about kind of the coming in and the process besides the 60 days waiting, the bed bug policy has changed a little bit. So when an individual does come to stay at the house, we have them call when they get here, and we have them enter through the garage. And when they come to the garage, we have a change of clothes for them, and we have them change clothes. And into clothes that we have, we take all their belongings, put them in the dryer for a half hour. We ask them to shower and then do the paperwork as they come in. So that's the policy that Todd was referring to, the individual did not like. But we do that with everybody because as you all know, bed bugs can be a big issue, and nobody wants them, in staff, guests, or anybody. So I forgot to add that. And then as far as the COVID go, we are taking the temperature twice a day of the guests during their stay, and the staff as well. So when staff come in, they check their temperature. When staff leaves, they check their temperature. So those are just a couple of other adjustments we've made besides the wiping everything down. But we're doing our best to keep everything as clean as possible and making sure everybody is as healthy as possible, doing what we can. So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Ed. All right, I'm going to go to the next question in the chat box. And Jenny asked, you mentioned staff getting training at the University of Iowa. Can I say more about that? Yeah, so the Department of Human Services, the state, it's recognized for peer support, and the University of Iowa has the contract right now to deliver that peer support training. So what I would encourage, and I will put in the chat box, is you visit the Iowa Peer Support Training.org, and it explains everything you need to know about becoming a peer support specialist. It gives you other trainings that are available. Maybe you have a supervisor that needs to understand peer support. They have a supervisor training. There's actually something on there about peer support for peer support. Myself and Todd Lang, another big advocate in the state, we seen the impact of COVID-19, not just for nurses, doctors, therapists, psychiatrists, but peers, right? So a lot of times we take stuff and we have a hard time letting go of it. And the peer support for peer support is a place for peer specialists to go to be able to talk, to get it out, to get support from one another. It's not that we do any kind of magical thing, but we use what God's given us, 2 ears instead of one mouth, and support each other. So it's Iowa Peer Support Training.org. Support training.org. I encourage you to look at that, and anybody else that would like to. They have a lot of good information on there. So the next question was from Nikki. Does one need a doctor referral to stay at Rhonda's house? I would say nobody needs a doctor referral. And if you have a doctor referral, we will want to talk to you. We've had several places call us up and say, hey, I've got Jim here, and Jim needs to talk to you because he needs to really come out to the house. Well, sorry, but if Jim doesn't want to come to the house, what we do at the house isn't going to work for Jim. So ultimately, no, you don't need a doctor's referral. You don't need a family referral. You don't need anything, but a referral is nice. It's really nice to get referrals from NAMI. It's nice to get referrals from the region. It's nice to get referrals from churches. It's nice to get referrals from anywhere, but ultimately it has to be up to the person. We've had the hospital call several times and say, hey, do you have a bed available? We have somebody here that we want to send your way. Well, we need to talk to them because, again, ultimately, if they are not willing to do it, it's not going to work, right? Not everybody recovers in the same time or the same way. And it really is about when that person is ready. All right. Any other questions? See John holding his hand up. I don't know if you have a question, John, or. Okay, must not. Any other questions on here? So again, this contact information is on here. You can visit our website. I'm gonna, one more chance for questions.
Todd, I just want to throw out there too, if anybody ever wants to take a tour of Rhonda's house, which was better than my computer tour, please call me. I work 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. I'd love to set up a time that you can work. And if you want to come out and check it out, see what it's about, I'm glad to do that for you. So just let me know. Just call the 563-659-1171 number. And
I just put that in the chat box, and I also put the Recovery Center's phone number in there as well. So, yeah, James, again, contact me. We'll stay in touch. Please, anybody, any questions, email us. Call Ed to take a tour. Call me or John at the center to take a tour of the center. That's what we need in this state, is people doing what you're doing, networking today, networking and telling people, hey, I know this resource, right? I have umpteen resources that I can connect people with. And when I meet somebody, I'm like, hey, I need to get a card, because I may not tomorrow run into a person, and it's happened. I went months, a year, before I actually needed to give that resource out. But let me tell you, you're going to give that resource out. So I would like to thank everybody for coming. This is recorded on YouTube, so if you want to visit it, I'm going to be posting it. And thank you for your questions. And please reach out if you ever need us.